Hey there, everyone. This is Sharon for Self Care You podcast. I am the number one self caregiver in the world, and this podcast is the intersection of self care, advocacy, and compassion for self caregivers. So, welcome, welcome, welcome. And so, in this episode, what we're going to talk about is navigating, shall I say, prioritizing you, navigating the journey of self care. And remember, self care is just so important. It includes the luxury of self care, the hot chocolate, the bubble baths, the massages, going to the spa, going to the beach. Yes, it includes all of those. And it's a duality. It's almost like doing all the work so we can enjoy those things. But self care are also those aspects of yourself to make yourself better. We talk about like speaking your truth and standing up for yourself and prioritizing, especially as a entrepreneur and a self carepreneur. In that, what do you do to stay focused? How do you handle in having to fire someone and how to hire someone when it comes to those of you who have family, in that you really need to focus on your work, but family is important too. And how do you navigate all of that? And so, what we're going to talk about in this episode is pretty much to shed some light on the importance of putting yourself first, in which we've talked about this time and time again, embracing self-care, and just pretty much just in depths of you coming into your being, and that takes work. And one thing I want to say is that when you do not prioritize yourself, when you are not learning about yourself, when you are not embracing yourself, believe me, it's going to come back. It has a way. It has a way. And even though, like by me being a therapist, I would just say it's not that I thought that I was unreachable, but I really have had a pretty good life. You know what I'm saying? I really don't have any, I can't say any complaints, but not many complaints. And I can really, you know, I mean, there have been like some heartaches, and the difficulties that I've had, though, to be honest, most of them always involve other people. I'm not saying that I didn't play a part, but what I've come to learn is the parts that have been played. I'm going to put it like that. The parts that have been played are those parts in which, again, those I have to keep going back to those childhood things. And I know people say, "Oh, well, you've grown." My whole point is that sometimes, even though you can say it, but we don't really know always, almost like until it happens. But in the doing or the being, you don't recognize how much of a driver's seat that some of those childhood experiences and even trauma has played a part in your life. And and so it's kind of like in being an adult, it's navigating. It's like, okay, I am going to have to dig some things up on purpose and go into the healing corner. You know what I mean? And so, in saying that, pretty much what I'm saying is that when you do not, again, you've heard me say it before, and especially in the late, I'm saying the latest, but in recent episode, is that when you, like, if you grew up without a parent, and I realize how difficult that it can be when you experience trauma, especially like sexual abuse, sexual assault, physical abuse, the verbal abuse, emotional abuse, domestic violence, um, abandonment issues, and even, the little t. they're not equal, but they have just as much of an impact on the person. And sometimes they can manifest themselves in so many devastating ways for some individuals, but they do have an impact. And so, in saying all that, what I'm saying is it's just so important, especially, we're talking about we want to be millionaires or at least make six figures and, want to be rich. I don't know about the famous part. So easy to tie those two together, right? But the main thing is that for anything that you want to achieve in life, whether you're in the spotlight or not, is that it takes some perseverance. But in that, it takes you a part of yourself that you may have never known. And in order for you, it's almost like, okay, if you want to win, even if somebody gives you or win $1 million, it is not the fact that you won that $1 million. It's the fact, do you have the mindset to be able to manage that? That is where self-care comes in to be, because people are going to be coming to you wanting to borrow money or expect you to give them money. Then what are you going to do? And just like for most people, because when you hear people who have, I'm not saying not to give it away, but you need to use discernment. And so it's self-care is prioritizing yourself. There are times in which, yes, you may want to think about it, but there are going to be times in which you need to make a decision right there. And a self care move is when you're able to make a decision, then if there's something that is in alignment that you feel at the time that's going to be beneficial to you, your company, your family, because they come first. They really do. Doesn't mean that you're not going to help out other people, but when you are connected with yourself, in alignment with yourself, everything else is going to follow. It doesn't mean of being, like in a selfish way, because what can end up happening, different people, different things they're prioritizing themselves on you. So what move are you going to make to make sure that you, your family, your company, and your community, whatever that means for you, is intact, is okay? And so this is what self-care is really about. It is about enjoying the luxury, but sometimes before you get to that luxury part, because I know, like with me, I think I must have been in luxury most of my life. And so when it comes to this journey of being an entrepreneur, there is a lot of undoing and learning that I am doing, or should I say retraining myself. It's like, oh, I've been in relaxation mode a little bit too much. And so again, when it comes to breaking the generational curse, trauma is every aspect of yourself, of prioritizing yourself, of being able to say no, being able to stand up. And it's more so, it's like being okay in an uncomfortable decision, in an uncomfortable move you may need to make. And that is life. And that is what self-care is all about, is I don't like it, it doesn't feel good, but I know it's the best decision. You see what I'm saying? I don't like it. It doesn't feel good, but I know it's the best decision. And I'm forging on anyway. That is what self-care is all about. It's not about you being concerned about someone's feelings, about hurting someone's feelings. It doesn't mean that you're cold, but it also means that you cannot carry on that task because that's not your assignment. Because sometimes we as humans, we can be we may have supposed to have been part 1A or part A1 of someone's assignment, and we're trying to do A through Z. And we probably had supposed to have been step 1 or step 3. So that is what self-care is all about. Even for you to have the discernment to say, okay, I've played my part, and be okay with it. And even though it may look like that somebody's going down the wrong road, you see? And it's like, whew, it's not my road. It's not my responsibility. What can I do? You know? So that is what self-care is all about. It's about you prioritizing yourself. Because when you allow your emotions to take over, then you're not able to really see things in the long run. And so you end up making decisions based on feelings. And then it's not in the best interest, to be honest, really, of anybody, because you're wanting somebody to feel good and not wanting to hurt someone's feelings. But what about you? What about your feelings? Do everyone always look out for you? Ooh. Mm. Mm-mm-mm. Don't know about that, right? Is everybody always looking out for you? You're the number one priority. Look after yourself. As we say, no one's coming to save you. There may be some people, some divine interventions, some assistance along the way, but there may not be. But at the end of the day, it's on you. And so remember the way that you prioritize yourself. Remember the 4 pillars of self care. We talk about it all the time. The 4 pillars of self care: self awareness, sitting in silence, deep rest, if movement and action. And as I've told you before, the last 3 is going to help you with the first one. And that first one is huge. It's every aspect of yourself. And again, it's not enough, because prioritizing yourself, it's like, oh, I'm in reflection. I have all these haha moments. What are you going to do with those moments? What actions are you taking? What movement are you doing? How are you moving forward with the reflection that you have? Because you can have all the knowledge in the world, but it is not going to be helpful if you're not able to move forward. So that is what self-care is all about. And it's accepting every aspect of yourself, because self-care is also about being honest. We're talking about speaking the truth. Are you speaking the truth of yourself? Meaning that you're okay, you're not okay, you need help, you need assistance, learning how to delegate. Like, oh, okay, this is too much. Then you may not be pretty much functioning at your fullest capacity because you're doing too much. So you need to, not hold on. Oh, no, they just can't do it right. Well, you may be doing nothing because it's too much. That is what prioritizing your self-care is all about. Knowing when to rest, knowing when to move. There may be times in which you're like, oh, I'm really tired. But this thing, whatever that thing is, especially if you're working on a project at work or for your own, job, and it's something that really needs to get out. You may need to take some little mini breaks, but that task really needs to get done. Because the more something don't get done, the more it doesn't get done. So it's important for you to prioritize yourself so that you would know what it's like to take care of you. The things that you're doing for others, make sure you're doing those things for yourself. Because we always tend to treat people and do things again in our love language. So make sure you are pouring that love language into yourself. And then when it comes to the movement, and I just say a little bit about the awareness part of it too, the introspection, the reflection, definitely go to the website or to Instagram, which is on there. I am Sharon D. Brown, so that you can grab the 555 Wellness Boosters. Pretty much allows you to get in touch, pretty much with your mind, body, spirit. Because doing something, there's 5 steps. I'm saying doing something. There are 5 steps for 5 minutes for 5 days where you're focused on yourself throughout the day. And that is what's going to help you to continue to take care of yourself, allow you to thrive, allow you to have clarity. So that is what self-care is all about. So thank you for listening to this episode of Self Care You Podcast.